Hello again, everyone, and welcome to our Mood and Metabolism playlist here. And again, Dr. Laurel and myself are here to answer your questions. And hello, Dr. Laurel, welcome again. It's
So
nice to
happy to
have
be
you.
here. Thank you.
Well, I'm glad you're here with us because we have some pretty interesting questions coming through that clinical advice is fantastic to have. And this question from this viewer is, I've just been diagnosed with insulin resistance. Is that blocking my weight loss, even though I'm really working hard at dieting and exercise? How does insulin resistance, that's what we'll address today, how does it affect our weight loss? I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Oh, yes, this is one of the really important considerations we need to be looking at when we're stuck and not able to lose weight by making the healthy changes in how we're eating. And it is affecting so many of us. I mean, they're estimating that, half of adult Americans are dealing with this. So we really need to figure out how to get this part of our metabolism unstuck.
So, what do we do? I know I have a little protocol that I do to work with insulin resistance. For example, after I eat, I like to get up and walk. Just moving my body helps with that insulin sensitivity. But insulin resistance might be a little bit more extreme. And if we're talking about navigating midlife metabolism, do you find, I mean, I've seen it in the literature, but do you find that insulin resistance is more prevalent, or is that just something that I'm just finding it in midlife? That's what the belly fat comes from. That's what got me focused on this insulin resistance idea. Does it automatically come with our aging process, our aging body as women? Or, well, we know it comes in many other ways, but is it something we should all expect going through the menopausal change or after menopause?
Well, we'll be more vulnerable to this type of change. Some of us are
Sure.
are lucky and our weak systems might be other areas of the body, but many of us are dealing with this insulin resistance. And the problem is, whenever our cells stop listening to the insulin message, that's what insulin resistance is, our body then produces more insulin to overcome that, and insulin gives our body the message to store fat. And as you're saying, we're storing more belly fat. So yes, when we have fat in that area, we should absolutely consider this possibility.
Yeah, and I brought that in the overnight diet book because I really studied the transition. And what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on not eating in between meals for insulin resistance, for example? Do you think that has an effect on this whole insulin issue?
Oh, absolutely. That is such a fabulous place to start, is having a metabolic rest period between your meals. If you can go 3 to 5 hours between meal, and as you say, in the overnight diet, have an overnight fast. If you can do those things, you're giving your body a break, because a lot of what's driving insulin resistance is poor quality diet, but it's also about the inflammation that we're setting up in our body. And by grazing and eating all the time, we're increasing that inflammation. We're not giving our body time to reset between meals for optimal health.
It's interesting you say that. Um, I never really looked at it that way, using the words that you're using. It causes inflammation. And I remember years ago, people used to come to me when I worked with them. They would say, well, if I eat all day, I'll keep my metabolism revved up. And actually, I think it's more sabotaging the metabolism because it wears the metabolism like a car, it wears the metabolism down. So, if we'll go back to the question, if you've been diagnosed with insulin resistance, according to what you're saying, Dr. Laurel, we really need to look at the type of foods we're eating. And also, how we're spacing out our meals, also how well where are we exercising along that 8 to 10 hour period when we're awake or more. And the last thing I want to say, and I want your opinion on this too, sleep. Many times we're awake at night, getting up, and I have to say, I think it really, really affects. I mean, the studies show it affects all our mechanisms within the body, but the insulin resistance, I would think it would add to that. Would you agree with that or disagree? What do you think?
Absolutely. It's both, increasing our cortisol, that stress hormone that is contributing to insulin
Right.
resistance, and there could be independent factors too. But they've absolutely shown that people who are not getting at a minimum of 6 hours sleep have greater risk of insulin resistance and eventually diabetes.
Yeah, and it's a real problem. And our food chain has not really been helpful in that regard. So I hope that did answer your question. If you found it very helpful, please subscribe and bring your questions, have them come in. We listened and we take all the questions and we will get to them. We do have a few extra that we haven't gotten to on this one, but we'll continue to do this in order to keep the community alive and to answer your questions the best way we can. And if you like this, please subscribe. It really helps us out. And until next time, please stay calm, stay strong, and actually stay happy. Take care.